Given a method, yes, given a method, we can use that method in different ways. For example, we have seen examples like, um, wait, mm, yeah, this was one example of method overloading. Yes, we had gone through this example in the previous class. So what was method overloading all about? To use one method but for different purpose. That is, the same method will be used to perform different tasks. Here in this example, Hashim, you can have a look at this example and try to understand. So in this example, what did we do? We used one single class within which we have three functions. Yes, one is the main function, and the other two, if you see, we have the same function, that is the display function. Yes, so both the functions are same because they have the same name, so both the functions are same. But there were some rules to be followed in method overloading. What were they? The function name should be the same because we are referring to the same function. Okay, the same function will be performing different tasks, so the function name must be same. Secondly, there can be, either the number of parameters will be different or the data type of the parameters will be different. Okay, or both can happen
Ma'am.
equally. So here we have taken, in this first function, we had taken only one data type, sorry, only one variable of data type int, and in the second we had taken two arguments. Okay, here we took one argument, here we took two arguments of integer type. So if you see here, we have demonstrated method overloading by taking different number of parameters, okay, in the method. So and even if you go through the body of the functions, I think it is simple enough. Here we are simply displaying the value of argument a, and here we are displaying the values of arguments a and b. That is all. And if you look at the main function, then what did we understand about method overloading? Method overloading, what were the other names? It is also known as compile time polymorphism or static binding. Why? Compile time polymorphism. Polymorphism means something that can be used in different ways. Yes, one thing having different different forms. So that is polymorphism. And compile time polymorphism is because when the compiler will be compiling, okay, this statement, this function call, the compiler will understand looking at the number of arguments here, because although these two statements, in these two statements we have the same name, yes, that is display and display. But however, this will not confuse the compiler, because the compiler will not only look at the function name, but it will look at the argument list, whether or not the arguments, type of arguments are same or different, or whether the number of arguments used are same or different. So based on that, the compiler will understand here we are using only one argument, okay, which is of integer type. We are using only one argument of
Yes,
integer
ma'am.
type. So the compiler will understand that when this statement will be, when this function will be called, automatically the control will be transferred to that particular display function having only one argument of integer type. So here if you see, we have this particular function, okay, so it will understand and it will transfer the control to this particular function only. And when the second statement will be executed, the compiler will understand that here we have two integer values, okay, we have two arguments here, so here this particular function will be executed. So basically in method overloading, okay, the compiler will understand which function is being done. So here it is performed in compile time only, okay, in the compile time itself we will understand which function has been called. Also it is in a static binding because this function call, the binding of this function call, okay, with the particular function, with the required function description, with the required function definition will be done at compile time. That is why it is in a static binding. So I told you to remember all these. Okay, so these are the concepts that might be asked to you during Viva. Okay, so you have to remember all this. And this is very important for your exam point of view. So that is all about method overloading. So simply you have to remember the rules, that we have to use the same function name, then but our number of parameters passed and data types of the parameters will have to
A
be
bit different, ma'am.
different. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
that is all about method overloading. That is it. Okay, just remember the rules. And I have shared some few more examples okay, with method overloading in the previous note. Just go through it. If you have any queries, you can ask me. Okay, Hashim? And this applies to
Okay,
the
ma'am.
rest of the students also. If you have any queries regarding any of your previous classes, you can ask me. Okay, but for that you have to be regular with your studies. At least do a bit of brush up every evening. Hmm. Okay, anyways, so we have discussed about, we have revised about the method overloading. Constructor overloading is also the same. Okay, so firstly we must understand what is the why do we need to overload a constructor. You see, we have used constructor in our programs. We have used default constructors. So from the very beginning we have been using default constructors, but we did not define the constructor. But later when we learned how to define constructor, there we learned how to define a default constructor by giving some fixed values. Yes, also we learned how to use parameterized constructor where we can pass parameters or pass values to the parameters. Okay, so we have seen how constructors work, and we have also seen how we initialize objects using constructors. Now it might happen that you want to initialize, say you have 3-4 objects of your class, and you would want different initializations for your objects. One object you would like to, initially you would like to have no values, okay, except for 0. Then you might want to have another object with some defined values. Okay, then you might have another object which might be initialized using parameters. Okay, so likewise there might be need for initializing different objects of your class in different ways. Okay, for that we use constructor overloading. Thing is, we have already used constructor overloading in all the programs earlier. If you look at this, um, wait, we have already used constructor overloading in our programs, but then I did not tell you about it because you did not understand what overloading is. You did not know about overloading. If you look at this, it's okay, not, we will not look at here directly. Wait, just look at, just let's look at some previous examples. Okay, this was one example which we already went through in one of our previous classes when we were covering constructors. So you see, in this example, if you see, if you just look at the class box, okay, this and this, these three are constructors of class box. Yes, so we have 3 constructors here. Just as we can use the same method for different purpose, we can also use the same constructor for doing different initializations, for doing different types of initializations. So if you go through these 3 constructors, what do you find? In the first one we have, this is a parameterized constructor. Yes, in the first
Yes, ma'am.
we have a parameterized constructor. Yes, so here we are simply passing, we'll be simply passing values to it, and those values will be assigned to the dimensions, okay, of that particular object. In the second, what do we have? We do not have any dimensions. Okay, so basically by default it will be 0. That means, so here we have given only 0, which means initially it will be 0, so there will be no proper values for the dimension. So this is a default constructor. So here this is a parameterized constructor of the same class. This is the same constructor, but here we are giving, this is a default constructor where we are giving a default value 0. Okay, we will provide values later or non-zero values later maybe. And then here what have we done? This is another constructor where we have simply, where we have passed one more one dimension length. Okay, and that length has been assigned to each of the depth, height and width. So if you see, if you look at the 3 constructors, you can see that the function names or the constructor names are the same. Of course it has to be same because we are, this is a constructor of the class box, so the constructor name has to be the same as the class name. So this matches with method overloading. In method overloading, we learned that the method name should be the same. Okay. Then what did we, the second and the third rules implied that the number of arguments and the data type of the arguments must be different. So here, if you see the number of arguments, here we have 3 arguments, here we have 0 arguments, here we have 1 argument. So this also matches. Okay. Even you can have different data types of arguments. Fine. So this is what constructor overloading is. We have already used it, but I did not mention about it to you back then. Okay. So we have already used method constructor overloading. Even in here, we went through this keyword in the previous class. Okay, so here we had a Java program that illustrated the role of this keyword in constructor overloading. So see, this is again one example of constructor overloading, where we have, okay, this is the, okay, here we have 3 constructors. Okay, one is the default and 2 are parameterized, but however here we have 4 arguments, 3 of double type and 1 of integer type, and here we have only 1 argument of int type. Okay, so these 3 are again constructors of the same class, and they will be doing different types of initializations. Okay, because they are doing different types of initializations, we can say that our constructor has been overloaded. Okay, now see, I think I have not explained this example to you. Yes. Okay, we will try to understand this example. So what have we done is, here we have the 3 dimensions of a class box, okay, with height, depth, and then we have an integer variable box number. Okay. Then we have 3 constructors, as you have already seen. Fine. So this is an empty box because initially there will be 0. There will be no dimensions initially. Here I have initialized, I will be initializing all the 4 dimensions of the box. Okay. And here, here we have used this keyword followed by one initialization, one assignment statement. Okay. Where we will be passing a value to the integer num, and that value will be assigned to box number. Okay, so we first have a look at the main function. So what are we doing here? See, here, see, we have created an object of this particular class box. We have used one single class. Yes, you also have to remember that overloading, method overloading is done in a single class. Within a single, we can overload methods of a single class only. Okay, so now you see, here we have declared an object, okay, box 1 of this particular class, and we have passed a value 1. Okay, so looking at this, what do you understand? That that particular constructor will be invoked, which uses only 1 argument, okay, and of type integer. So if you go through these 3 constructors, what according to you, which constructor will be invoked? This particular constructor. Yes, because we have passed only 1 value, so this only matches with this particular constructor. So as soon as this constructor will be invoked, okay, as soon as this will be executed, this call will be executed, this particular constructor will be invoked. Now you see, we have just coming to the definition. First we have this keyword, and we have learned how we can use another constructor inside one constructor. Yes, how we can refer to a second constructor from the first constructor. So here this keyword will be used to invoke the default constructor. Why the default constructor? Because we don't have any parameters here. Okay, so since we do not have any parameters here, so this particular statement will be used to invoke only the default constructor in our class. So we have only this as the default constructor here. Okay, so as soon as this statement is executed, okay, then the control will be transferred to this particular constructor. And what do we have inside this constructor? Simple initializations with 0. So all the width, height and depth will be initialized to 0 as soon as this particular statement is executed. Okay, so we are calling from this constructor, we are calling the second constructor. Okay, we are calling the parameterized constructor. Now, once this particular constructor is finished executing, the control will come back to this constructor and the second statement will be executed. So what do we have? This is a simple assignment statement where the number that we had passed, okay, what was this num? This was 1 because we passed a 1 to this constructor. So the num holds 1 now, and that 1 will be assigned to box number. Okay, so we are done with the initializations. Now let us have a look at the rest of the statements in the main function. So the second statement wants us to display the box1 dot width. Okay, so when this particular say box1 dot width, so where is the width? So this is width. Okay, so what do we have, what values do we have for width, height and depth? We have 0 because we initialized all the values using this constructor. And yes, from this constructor we call this particular default constructor. Okay, so is using this default constructor we have assigned 0 to each of width, height and depth. So now you must remember that your width is 0, your height is 0, your depth is 0, and your box number is 1 because we passed a 1 through num. So your num has been assigned to box number, so your box number now contains 1. So the values of all these three are 0 and box number is 1. And here we have to simply display box 1 dot with the width of box 1, which is 0. So it will simply display 0. And what do we have for the next statement? Box 1 dot box number. So this will simply display what? 1. Okay, so our output for this particular program will be 0 for width and 1 for box number. Is that fine? If suppose here in this example, we did not initialize our object using the first parameterized constructor. We have used the second parameterized constructor. So you can also do that using the first. Okay. So accordingly, how many arguments do you have here? You have 4 arguments. So for that, you will have to pass 4 different values. Okay. You have to pass 4 different values for each of these dimensions. And accordingly, the values will get assigned. Okay, so if you want me to run this program, you can check the output here. Java C box 7 dot Java, sorry. Yes, see, first is 0.0 and the second is 1. Why 0.0? Because width, height and depth were taken to be double values. So that is why we have a decimal value for width. And 1 was an integer value, so we have only 1 here. Is it clear? Is this example clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And constructor
Yes,
overloading
ma'am.
as well. If you understood method overloading, constructor overloading is also the same. And without your knowledge, you have been using constructor overloading since few previous classes. Yes. Now, okay, there's one. Wait. Huh? Someone, I think, texted me in the chat section, but I'm unable to view it. I don't know why it's not opening. But anyways, okay.
Ma'am,
Qua.
ma'am, for this program to be executed, there must be a default constructor. If there is no default constructor, then it will not be executed, ma'am.
No,
Is it like that?
default constructor, see, it is up to the user. Okay, I have designed my program in such a way that I have a default constructor where I have initialized all my values to 0. You can have any non-zero value also. Okay, what I have done is I have demonstrated the use of constructor overloading by using the same constructor in different ways. Okay, I have used 2 parameterized constructor and 1 default constructor to make you understand about constructor overloading. That was the primary objective. Second objective is how to use the this keyword inside one constructor to invoke another constructor. Yes, so that using, for both the objectives I have used this constructors, but it is up to you. If you don't want to use any default constructor, it is well and good. It is not necessary that you have to use default constructor in your programs. You may not have default constructors, so but for that you have to pass parameters, just as I have done here. Okay, so if you don't want to have a default constructor, then it's fine. It's simply delete it, omit this part. Then you will have this parameter, this constructor, first parameter is constructor with 4 arguments and the second parameter is constructor with only 1 argument. Okay, and then for that, if now you want to use, see here we have already initialized each of these values, so then again initializing a value is not required here. You can do it, but then if you have, because you have same statements, so first see, I'm just trying to, I'll just show you one thing. Okay, I'll just omit this part. Okay, I have omitted the default constructor. Now just wait, huh?